Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. Sigma males have mastered the art of saying everything without saying a word. In a world obsessed with validation and over-explaining, they've perfected the ultimate power move, not caring in ways so subtle, it's almost an art form. Here's a fact to chew on. Research shows that the average person spends 40% of their day worrying about what others think. Sigma males, they've cut that number down to 0. And no, they didn't meditate under a waterfall to get there. They just stopped giving their energy to things that don't matter. If you think they'll slam a door or stage a dramatic walkout to prove a point, think again. These guys don't need theatrics. Their indifference is the loudest mic drop you'll never hear. So buckle up as we dive into the uncanny ways Sigma males make it crystal clear they couldn't care less. Spoiler alert, it's not just a vibe, it's a lifestyle. Number 1, he declines invitations without excuse. A Sigma male's no is as firm as a brick wall and just as unshakable. When he declines an invitation, he doesn't sugarcoat it with half-baked excuses or elaborate lies about being so swamped with work. He just says no, plain and simple. And while most people scramble to justify their absence to avoid hurting feelings or causing offense, he sees no need for that theatrical nonsense. It's not about being rude, it's about being honest, and more importantly, staying true to himself. He knows that life is too short to spend it at events that drain his energy, around people who don't inspire him, or in environments that feel like a chore. So when he skips that party, wedding, or overhyped networking event, it's not because he's lazy or antisocial. He just values his time way more than small talk and watered-down punch. Here's where it gets interesting. His straightforwardness actually leaves people stunned. Most aren't used to someone being this unapologetically authentic. They're used to excuses like, oh, I'd love to, but my cat is sick, or I have to reorganize my sock drawer. But when a Sigma male says, no thanks, I won't make it, with no follow-up explanation, it hits different. Some might even find it intimidating because, let's face it, it takes guts to set boundaries this firm. The beauty of it all is that he doesn't stress over how people perceive his decision. He's not worried about whether his absence will be noticed or criticized. If anything, he knows his self-respect outweighs the fleeting discomfort of saying no. While everyone else is stuck faking smiles and enduring dull conversations, he's somewhere else, probably recharging, reading, or just enjoying his peace. No regrets, no guilt, just pure freedom. Number 2, he leaves when respect is no longer served. When respect disappears, so does a Sigma male. It's not up for debate, negotiation, or even a casual side chat. The moment he senses that someone no longer values his boundaries, his worth, or his time, he simply walks. No drama, no angry texts, no drawn-out arguments. He doesn't need a grand exit to prove his point. His absence speaks louder than any speech ever could. For a Sigma male, respect is the foundation of every interaction. The moment it cracks, everything else falls apart. But here's the kicker. He's not going to tell you you're being disrespectful. He's not your therapist, and he's definitely not your life coach. If you can't figure it out, that's your homework to sort out after he's gone, and no, you won't get an extension. The way he leaves is what truly baffles people. It's surgical, clean, precise, and without warning. One minute you're in his world, and the next you're wondering if you ever really knew him at all. He's not ghosting, he's upgrading to a life where he doesn't have to tolerate unnecessary nonsense. It's like unsubscribing from a newsletter you didn't sign up for, quick, efficient, and without regrets. Some might call it cold, but for him it's clarity. Why stay where respect isn't served? That's like showing up at a restaurant and paying for an empty plate. Not his style. And no, he doesn't need you to work on it or promise to do better next time. He knows that respect isn't something you demand. It's something freely given, or not. Either way, he's good. So while others waste time trying to salvage broken dynamics, he's already moved on to greener pastures, probably sipping his coffee in peace, wondering why anyone would choose chaos over self-respect. Number 3, he wears confidence like armor but refuses to flaunt it. A Sigma male's confidence isn't something he wears for show. It's more like a second skin, natural, effortless, and completely unbothered by external opinions. He doesn't walk into a room shouting his achievements from the rooftops or trying to be the loudest voice in the conversation. In fact, his confidence is so understated that most people don't notice it immediately, but when they do, it hits them like a quiet storm, powerful, undeniable, and impossible to ignore. What sets him apart is that he doesn't feel the need to flaunt his confidence because it doesn't come from shallow sources like compliments, social status, or how expensive his watch is. His self-assurance comes from knowing exactly who he is and not needing anyone else's approval to feel complete. While others are busy striking power poses or name-dropping to look important, he's the one in the corner sipping his coffee, completely at peace with himself. This doesn't mean he's shy or withdrawn, far from it. He'll speak up when it matters, and when he does, people listen. There's a quiet authority to him that demands respect without him ever having to ask for it. His calm demeanor, paired with that unshakable confidence, often makes people wonder, what does he know that the rest of us don't? The irony, his refusal to flaunt his confidence makes him stand out even more. It's like walking into a room full of neon signs and being drawn to the one thing that's not screaming for attention. That's his vibe. It's not arrogance. It's knowing his worth without needing a spotlight to prove it. And while others are busy trying to impress everyone, he's busy impressing himself. And that's a flex that no one else can copy. Number 4, he ignores the spotlight even when it's his moment. When it's a Sigma male's moment to shine, don't expect him to step into the spotlight like it's some grand Broadway production. He'll acknowledge the applause with a polite nod, maybe a small smile, and then casually step to the side as if the whole thing was no big deal. While others are busy soaking up attention like sponges, he's already mentally moved on to his next challenge. For him, the spotlight isn't a reward, it's just an unnecessary distraction. This isn't about false humility or playing hard to get. The Sigma male genuinely doesn't crave external validation. Compliments are nice, sure, but they don't fuel him. He's wired differently. Success for him isn't about trophies or public recognition. It's about achieving personal goals on his own terms. If he had a motto, it'd probably be something like, "Thanks, but I'm good." What makes this even more interesting is that his indifference to the limelight often draws people in even more. There's something magnetic about someone who doesn't need the crowd to feel important. While others are chasing clout, he's out here reminding everyone that confidence doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. This isn't to say he doesn't appreciate his accomplishments, he absolutely does. But the difference is that he doesn't tie his self-worth to what others think of them. He's not the guy who'll throw a party to celebrate his success. He's the guy who quietly rewards himself with something meaningful, like a solo trip or a new book he's been eyeing. So while the world clamors for attention, he stands apart. Not because he's trying to be mysterious, but because he simply couldn't care less about the noise. And that, ironically, makes him unforgettable. Number 5. He lets relationships fade without announcement. When a Sigma male feels a relationship running out of steam, he doesn't stage a dramatic breakup or throw a pity party. He just lets it fade, quietly, effortlessly, and without a single announcement. No grand speeches, no "we need to talk" texts, no passive-aggressive social media posts. If he feels the connection is no longer serving either of them, he doesn't force it to survive out of obligation. For him, relationships that need constant resuscitation aren't worth the effort. This isn't about being heartless or cold. On the contrary, Sigma males value deep, meaningful relationships, but they also understand something most people don't. Holding on to something that's already slipping away is like trying to catch water with your hands, futile, messy, and ultimately exhausting. Instead of clinging to what was, he lets time take its course. If the relationship has a strong foundation, it'll stand on its own. If not, he'll quietly bow out without making a scene. Here's the kicker. His disappearing act isn't a power move, it's just him respecting his energy and yours. If you've ever wondered where he went, the answer is simple. He didn't leave out of spite, he left because forcing something fake isn't his style. And he's not going to send you a detailed itinerary of his thought process either. If you can't feel the gap growing, that's on you. What's almost comical about this is how some people only realize his value after he's gone. By the time they're crafting emotional paragraphs or staging "we need closure" meetings, he's already moved on, mentally, emotionally, and probably physically. He doesn't hate you, he just values his peace over anything that feels forced. Relationships that don't evolve naturally don't get a dramatic ending. They just get left behind. Number 6. He doesn't waste time justifying his decisions. A Sigma male doesn't waste time explaining himself to people who are determined not to understand. If he makes a decision, it's final. And he doesn't feel the need to create a PowerPoint presentation to justify why he did what he did. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. He knows why he made his choice, and if you can't see it, that's not his problem to fix. He's not here to give you a TED talk about his life. This approach baffles people because society is so used to over-explaining. Someone quits a job, they have to write a 2-page resignation letter. Someone cancels plans, they're spinning stories about emergencies that don't exist, but not the Sigma male. His logic is simple. I made the decision because it felt right for me. That's it. End of story. He doesn't owe anyone a long-winded justification because he's already at peace with his actions. What's funny is how uncomfortable this makes some people. They'll probe, pry, and poke, hoping he'll spill some deep, dramatic reasoning, but he just stays calm. Maybe throws out a vague, "It wasn't for me," and leaves it at that. It's like trying to get secrets out of a vault. It's not happening. And the more they push, the more amused he gets, watching them tie themselves in knots, trying to fill in the blanks. His refusal to justify himself isn't about being dismissive, it's about conserving energy. He knows explanations are wasted on people who don't really care about his perspective. They just want to argue or feel validated. By not engaging, he avoids unnecessary drama and keeps his peace intact. In a world where everyone is constantly explaining themselves, his silence isn't just refreshing, it's a power move. Number 7, he watches you play power games and never picks up a piece. When someone tries to rope a Sigma male into a power game, he doesn't just refuse to play. He doesn't even acknowledge the board. He'll sit back, arms crossed, and let you shuffle your cards and roll your dice, all while silently thinking, "Good luck with that." He sees these games for what they are, exhausting, pointless attempts to prove dominance or stroke egos. And frankly, he has better things to do with his time. This doesn't mean he's oblivious to what's going on. On the contrary, he spots the moves long before they're made. He's like a chess grandmaster who can see 15 steps ahead, but decides the game isn't worth his effort. Watching others scramble to outsmart, outshine, or outmaneuver each other is to him equal parts amusing and tedious. He doesn't need to win because his sense of self-worth isn't tied to beating someone else. What really confuses people is his complete lack of engagement. They expect him to react, to counter, or at least to care, but he doesn't flinch. Throw shade, spread rumors, play mind games. He won't even glance in your direction. It's not that he's weak or passive. It's that he sees no value in stooping to that level. He'd rather focus on his own goals than get dragged into petty competitions. This infuriates the players. They thrive on reactions, and his indifference leaves them floundering. How do you win a game when your opponent won't even pick up a piece? Spoiler alert, you don't. His refusal to engage is his victory. Ultimately, the Sigma male operates on a different wavelength. Power games are distractions, and he's all about clarity and purpose. While others are tangled up in strategies, he's already moved on, unbothered, unaffected, and in his own way, undefeated. Number 8, he deletes social media without announcing it. When a Sigma male deletes his social media, he doesn't send out a farewell post with dramatic captions about needing a break to find himself. Nope, he's already gone before anyone even notices. One day you're scrolling through your feed and it hits you. His profile isn't there anymore. No announcement, no cryptic hints, just silence. And that's exactly how he likes it. To a Sigma male, social media is a tool, not a lifestyle. He's not interested in endless selfies, pointless debates, or pretending his life is shinier than it is. If it starts to feel like a waste of time or a drain on his energy, he won't hesitate to cut it off. For him, scrolling through highlight reels and petty arguments is like being stuck in a never-ending reality show, only without the entertainment value. But what's truly fascinating is how little he cares about the social fallout. He's not worried about losing followers or missing out on trending topics. In fact, he finds the whole idea of likes and shares absurd. Why would he measure his worth in double taps and retweets? He'd rather invest his time in real-life connections or pursuits that actually matter. Of course, his sudden disappearance leaves people puzzled. Some assume he's pulling a stunt, while others might take it personally. But the truth is, it's never about anyone else. He's just prioritizing his peace over the noise. If he does return, it'll be on his terms, not because of pressure to stay relevant. Deleting social media isn't a big statement for him. It's a small decision with massive impact. It's his way of stepping back, reclaiming his time and proving that his identity isn't tied to a username or a profile picture. If that confuses people, well, that's just another perk. Number 9, he prioritizes peace over connections. The Sigma male doesn't chase people, connections, or validation. He's not scrolling through his contacts hoping for the next social invite or trying to fit into anyone else's idea of success. He prioritizes peace over everything, and that doesn't just mean avoiding conflict. It's about creating a life that's calm, centered, and aligned with his inner values. Relationships and connections, they're secondary. If they add to his peace, great. If they drain it, he'll let them fade away without a second thought. For most people, social connections are like a game. They're about building networks, maintaining a certain image, or making sure you're not forgotten in a crowded world. But not the Sigma male. To him, peace is the ultimate luxury, and it doesn't come from constantly trying to meet the demands of others or keep up with the social whirlwind. If a person, situation, or group starts to disturb his equilibrium, he's out. No hesitation. What's truly remarkable about this is how little he cares about what others think of his decisions. While most people would feel guilty for letting a friendship go cold or bowing out of a social event, the Sigma male feels no pressure. He doesn't need external approval to feel good about his choices. His comfort is his currency, and no amount of attention or approval is worth sacrificing that. Of course, this mindset makes others uncomfortable. They're used to people chasing relationships and seeking approval, but the Sigma male doesn't need that validation. He's already whole, and that's what sets him apart. The more he steps back from the social scene, the more powerful he becomes. He doesn't need anyone to fill his cup because he's perfectly content being his own source of peace and strength. And that peace, it's his greatest asset. The rest of the world may be scrambling for connections, but he's just chilling in the calm of his own mind. Number 10. He walks away from success if it compromises his values. The Sigma male doesn't care about fame. He doesn't care about trophies or the applause that comes with success. In fact, if achieving that success means compromising his values or integrity, he'll walk away from it without a second thought. He's not in it for the fame or the status. He's in it for the satisfaction that comes from doing things on his own terms. If climbing the corporate ladder requires him to abandon his morals or bend to the whims of the crowd, he'll happily toss the whole ladder aside. You see, for a Sigma male, success isn't defined by others' expectations. It's not about fitting into the mold society has created or playing by a set of rules that don't align with who he is. He's much more concerned with personal growth and maintaining his sense of authenticity. If that means turning down a lucrative deal or ignoring an easy opportunity to shine, so be it. He's not here for the applause or the glittering prizes. He's here to live life as he sees fit, and here's the kicker. His refusal to chase success is precisely what makes him so magnetic. People who are obsessed with climbing to the top often leave a trail of desperation behind them, but a Sigma male's indifference to status or wealth only makes him more intriguing. He doesn't need to flaunt what he has because, frankly, he doesn't care who knows about it. The moment you realize he's walked away from something most would fight tooth and nail for, you start to understand that his values are what set him apart. For him, walking away from success isn't a sacrifice, it's an affirmation of his principles. He's not a slave to ambition. He's a man of integrity who understands that real success comes from living in alignment with your true self, not from collecting awards or being admired by others. If the world doesn't get it, too bad. He's too busy living his own version of success to worry about theirs. In the end, the Sigma male is a master of indifference, a living testament to the power of living life on your own terms. He doesn't play by the world's rules, and that's exactly what makes him so compelling. His detachment from the typical power games, the social ladders, and the relentless chase for validation shows that true strength isn't found in how much attention you can get. It's in how little you care for the things that most people spend their lives chasing. Whether it's stepping away from relationships that no longer serve him, ignoring the spotlight when it's handed to him, or deleting his social media without a second thought, his actions speak louder than any words or followers ever could. What's truly fascinating about him is his ability to thrive in the silence, to walk away from success without a backward glance, and to prioritize his peace over connections. While the rest of the world runs around trying to prove something, the Sigma male is quietly living life on his own terms, confident that his worth is not measured by the world's standards. He's proof that you don't need to care about everything to win at life. Sometimes the ultimate flex is not caring at all. So the next time you see a Sigma male in action, don't bother trying to understand. Just watch and learn. He's not concerned with impressing you. He's too busy living his own version of success. And in his world, that's all that matters. If you've made it this far, it's clear you're someone who appreciates depth and authenticity, two things the Sigma male lives by. So if you're ready to explore more powerful insights into the minds of the rarest and most intriguing individuals, hit that subscribe button. Join the conversation because this is just the beginning. Stay tuned for more captivating content that will challenge the way you think, inspire your growth, and maybe even spark a little rebellion against the status quo. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Subscribe now and keep leveling up with us. Bye for now and see you in the next video.